The things that define a culture as being completely unique from any other culture on the planet are things such as language, art, food, and architecture. And when you come to Korea, it's really important you take time out to enjoy the unique ancient architecture that's been developed in a culture that's over 7,000 years old. Seongyojang is a great example of 18th century architecture, considered by some to be in the top 10 of best preserved original dwellings in Korea. The typical Korean residence would have a number of dwellings on the property, the main house, or Yeolwadang, being designated to the male owner of the property. It's hard to imagine 300 years ago when they built this house, they actually built it right on the edge of a lake. But with agriculture and maybe declining rainfall, the lake has shrunk and it's now 4 kilometres that way. One important structure in this house is the Ojukheon, which was built in 1816. And it's the first thing you'll see upon entering the compound through the front gates. In traditional times, lotus was both a sacred flower, with its relationship to Buddhism so important to have nearby, but also an important food source, as the root is used in many Korean dishes as a vegetable. An even older property, a few minutes' drive through the countryside, is Ojukheon House, where once Sinsa Imdang lived, and where her son, Yulgok, was born. Yulgok was particularly important as both a scholar and politician in the Joseon period in the early 1500s. It's considered a national treasure and it's maintained by descendants of the original residents today. These exceptionally beautiful examples of Korean architecture are a classic for the era. Now, back in the time, in a complex like this, there would have been at least 2 buildings, one for living in, like this here, and one for worship, and also learning and education, like this beautiful shrine over here. Next door to this home is the Municipal Museum, which houses relics from prehistoric ages and historical materials collected from more recent times. Make sure you take time out during your trip through Korea to explore its ancient history. It's fascinating, it's incredibly rich. I promise you, this will make your whole Korean experience so much richer.